Global Network College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. Each will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but will be around for the entire session to answer questions. My name is Raina, and I will be your facilitator. We have some housekeeping items to go over before we get started today. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check the schedule on the website. This presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Snowball. Now, I would like to turn it over to our first presenter, Dickinson College.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Harper. Let me jump up. And bang, bang. There we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Harper. I'm an assistant director of admissions here at Dickinson College, and I'm really excited to be with you here today. You've picked a great session, lots of awesome colleges here, but let me talk to you a bit about Dickinson. So to start off with, let's hope the presentation moves quickly as I thought. So I just want to give you like a little bit of a taste on where we are. First off, so we're in central Pennsylvania, Dickinson College. We're about 20 minutes away from Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania, you may or may not know. But in other words, we're about 2 hours north of DC. Baltimore is about 90 minutes away, 2 hours from Philadelphia, 3 hours from New York. But so lots of big cities sort of in our vicinity. But we're sort of right in smack in the middle of Pennsylvania. Lots of great hiking, outdoor resources around here. But Carlisle itself is a great town. I love living here. It's very cute, got lots of farmers markets, great shops, fantastic food and restaurants. I know you guys are over in Chicago, which has a lot of great stuff, but you're not missing out on great food here in Carlisle, which is something I love to talk about. But to tell you a bit about Dickinson itself, here are some of the highlights. We are a small liberal arts college. I assume being at this session, you're interested in sort of these small liberal arts colleges, but so we have a lot of the hallmarks of that. 2,300 students thereabouts. We're about 14% international, which is important to me. I usually work with international students, but we have an 8-to-1 student faculty ratio. The average class size is about 14 students. Really, student faculty interaction is really important to us, sort of making sure you have as much contact with people as possible. The community is really, really fantastic and really important in fostering that for everyone here. But here's some of our course offerings. I will say our most popular major is international business and management, but about 30% of our students are in STEM majors. We have a bunch of different areas. We're a liberal arts college, so we want you to study sort of as much, sort of get as many sort of perspectives as possible. But what I want to focus on today is sort of what makes Dickinson different. What are sort of our distinctive features as a school? So one thing we are super passionate about is global education. We are consistently ranked highly for that, but it's just some proof points for you. About 63% of our students study abroad. Obviously with COVID, that changes a little bit, but we run 18 global programs ourselves. So that's pretty unique. We have about 13 staff members who actually live abroad in many of these locations, but we have 50 programs total. Your financial aid follows you wherever you go. And if you look at sort of those stats at the bottom, whatever you want to study, sort of whoever you are, you have the ability to study abroad. So our science majors, for instance, at the University of Otago in New Zealand, if you're interested in taking an anatomy class, they have a world-renowned anatomy lab. So a lot of our students who are interested in pre-med, pre-health will go there to take their anatomy classes. But tons of different areas. We have a program with the University of Oxford, we have them in Italy, people take we have language programs, non-language programs, whatever you want to do. I'm really passionate about study abroad. It's a fantastic way to get another new perspective. As I said before, we're about 14% international. Global education is more than just studying abroad. There's a lot of different opportunities with that. And we want you to sort of bring as much of the world to Dickinson as we can and have you sort of be exposed to as many perspectives as possible. So something else that I think makes Dickinson pretty distinct is our passion for sustainability. We're a carbon neutral campus as of 2020, but we have a sustainability requirement in terms of curriculum. Environmental studies is something that's really popular, but even if you're not an eco warrior super passionate about sustainability, you're going to interact with it on campus. We have an 180-acre college farm that produces 100,000 pounds of organic produce. So a lot of the food you're eating in the dining hall comes from the farm. You can go out to the farm on a Friday afternoon and do a thing called Weed and Feed, where you do a little bit of farm work and then they give you a nice snack to celebrate the end of the week. But yeah, you're going to take a sustainability class. So our Spanish 2 class actually is one of our, fulfills our sustainability requirement because they have They interact with the farm. They have like a sustainability component to the class. But so it's really, we have a lot of environmentally friendly buildings on campus. It's just something that's important to us and sort of the culture. But a bit of a taste here, like this is sort of some things. We performed the Grapes of Wrath on the farm. There's a harvest festival, lots of stuff. The farm goes to, there's a farmer's market downtown, and they do pizza and stuff. We have an on-campus housing option that specializes in sustainability, but lots of options there. Not specifically with that. And I want to talk a bit about careers as well, and just sort of give you an idea of where are some of the places that our students work or intern or do after college. And I would point you out, if you want to know more information about a specific major, each of our majors shows graduate school on their major page on the website, graduate schools, jobs, and internships that recent graduates have done. So that's a great resource of what does an international business major look like at Dickinson. But also, if you're looking at medical school, law school, we have fantastic acceptances with those programs. Where the Career Center is also committed to providing 100% of students who go to them and ask for an internship. So if you want to do one, you go to them. They're a great resource. They're really committed and they're really good at what they do. Yeah, and then I want to touch on a little bit of admission statistics here. We are test blind, so when we're reviewing your application, we will not look at your standardized testing. We're test optional since 1994, but now since the pandemic, we don't look at standardized testing at all. We are an early decision school, so that is binding when you apply. But also when we review your application, you're automatically considered for merit scholarships between $15,000 and $30,000. If you're really passionate about service, we have an extra scholarship you can apply for. That is for $35,000 a year, but we meet full financial need through merit and need-based scholarships. But that's my admission spiel. But if you do have questions, Rylan Good is our main Illinois counselor, so feel free to reach out to him or me at any point. Really nice to present to you guys today. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dickinson College. And just a reminder to put your contact information in the chat for everyone. Keep those questions coming to the Q&A. All right, Connecticut College.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rosendo Anguiano-Saenz. I'm an assistant director of the college and also a recent alum. And so I'll be giving a presentation as soon as I figure out which slide, almost. Perfect. Oh, wrong. There we go. Amazing. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to be speaking to you today about Connecticut College, which is another small private liberal arts college, and we're located here on the southeastern coast of Connecticut. Again, small, so we're 18 to 1,900 students. We have a small faculty ratio of 9-to-1. We are located actually in Arboretum, so we're actually 750-acre Arboretum. So if you're looking for something outdoors, we do have a lot of hiking, recreational things of that nature. We also have direct access to the waterfront, so that's actually the Thames River in the back. And then the town of New London is right on the coast. With that, we were actually founded in 1911 as a women's college to serve underrepresented group within our community, and that's something we'd like to hold up now, even though in 1969 we did become co-ed. Okay, we are in the town of New London, which is a small city, which it likes to balance sort of the friendliness of a small town with all of the resources of a larger city, because there's no separation between us and our neighboring towns. You never really find yourself without, but you can really say hello to anyone, and people tend to be very welcoming around here. We also have a transportation center, and we're placed right between New York and Boston, about 2 hours each way. We're also near Providence and all the other major cities in Connecticut. And then we offer quite a few opportunities, especially for BIPOC and first-gen students, including Sport Weekend for prospective students in the fall and Spring Connections for our admitted students here in the spring. It's actually coming up in about 2 weeks, I believe. We're also official policy partners for Chicago and New York. And we also do pre-orientation programs for first-gen and BIPOC students, including Genesis, which is a week long. We really just try and build cohorts of students so that you end up with the support network if that's something you need to make sure that you're really successful throughout, including a Big SIP program, which pairs with that. We also do Odyssey for international students. Now, getting into our first year experience, we take a lot of time to make sure that you're set up for all 4 years, starting with an FYS or first year seminar. And this is an interdisciplinary course where you also end up focusing on other study and work-based skills, like how to improve your essay writing and those resources, research, anything out of nature. And you also are introduced to your advising team that helps with everything from academics to career, as well as social life here on campus. And then the connections curriculum, that's something we pride ourselves on and something we've worked on in the past couple of decades here. The goal is to really take all of your interests, whether they feel connected or not, whether you be English and psychology or computer science and music, and find ways to bring those together and create one thing, just like you are one person. And looking at our kind of a brief look at our curriculum, the big thing is that we offer integrated pathways and interdisciplinary centers. These both have the goal of doing culminating senior research projects. They pursue them in slightly different ways, but they're both essentially the coursework of a minor, a heavier minor, and then the pathways are a little bit more independent and the centers are a little bit more structured. So there are 14 different pathways ranging from food, creativity, entrepreneurship, and public health. And there are 5 different centers, including race and ethnicity, community action, international studies, the environment, and arts and technology. And you always present, seniors always present, and then this ends up being a great thing looking forward. We also do a lot of study abroad here. Over half of our students actually study abroad, and financially travels with you. So it ends up being not an extra expense to travel abroad, and there are actually scholarships you can apply to pay for any of the other odds and ends, like the actual travel there or expenses while you're abroad. We also do a lot of career development, starting the first year with the prep course. We do pre-professional advising, and we also have flexible career funding, which is in our spring or in the summer of junior year. You actually have up to $3,000 to help you with internships or anything of that nature, to make sure that by the time you leave, you are completely prepared. And here are a couple statistics, because it's really about being able to see your return on investment on this portion of it. So with that, 96% of our students are in grad school, employed, or otherwise. We also have regular producer Fulbright scholars. We've had 6 in the 4 to 30 under 30 in the past 4 or 5 years. Yes, and then with that, our community is really built upon our students and this quality of the honor code, which is this relationship of mutual trust and respect. You can see it in our finals period because all exams are unproctored and self-scheduled. We also have different policies like shared governance. That means that any policy that affects everyone on campus means that there will be a representative from students, faculty, and staff, all included, to make sure that voices are heard. And then these are different programs that are all largely student-led and pursued to make sure that our goals are being seen, and then student voices who experience this are being heard. Here are some other sort of clubs and groups that we have on campus that work with our Division of Institutional Equity and Inclusion, or DIEI. This ranges from all of our BIPOC students, different religious organizations, LGBTQ, and many more. And then we also, just to give a little bit of our application, we use Common App, very simple, and then we're test optional, and we're always trying to see best foot. And I don't know why it's still set to that, but we do meet 100% our demonstrated need, and we do have early decision, and that is it. And I will pop my information in the chat.
Thank you, Connecticut College. All right, moving on with Occidental College.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Julius. I'm an admission counselor at Occidental. I'm actually from Chicago originally, so I always love getting the chance to share a little bit about California and Los Angeles, because it really is so different than Chicago. And I think it's such an exciting place to spend 4 years, especially when you already know that you like being in a big city, that cities are important to you. It's a great way to experience it in a very different kind of landscape. So Occidental, if you haven't already gotten the gist, is a 4-year residential liberal arts college located in LA. We're a school of about 2,000 students, all at the undergraduate level, and students typically live on campus for all 4 years. That campus experience is really what anchors the Oxy experience. But But the advantage is that while we have campus, let's see, is there a different what I'm looking for? Yes. While you have 125 acres of real traditional campus space, you also have all of LA behind you. And that's something that we really lean into during your 4 years, not just socially, but also academically. Your classes are really going to engage in LA. This combination of a small traditional college in a big city is pretty rare to find, and that is what attracts students from all over the country and all over the world to Oxy. We are a very diverse community, and I love showing this slide because I think it really gives you a sense of kind of who is attracted to this urban experience, right? Only a third of our students are coming from California. So most students come from outside of the state, like the Pacific Northwest, like Chicago, like the East Coast. And then about 15% of our students actually come to Oxy from outside of the US as international students or US citizens who've grown up abroad. About half of our students identify as students of color. About half of that is going to be Asian Pacific Islander identifying students. Roughly 15% of our students are Latinx and about 12% are Black or African American identifying students. About 15% loosely are the first in their family to attend college. So we really bring a lot of different perspectives to Oxy and allow you to not just lean in with your academic interests, but let your personal experiences, your personal identities be a part of what compels you to study. Most students are very much driven to study the issues that matter to them, that have affected their lived experiences. And so we want you to really bring your full identities with you when you come to Oxy and employ that in the classroom. We are all a bunch of liberal arts colleges, and you've probably heard that phrase liberal arts thrown around a lot. I don't know if we always do the best job kind of explaining what that really means. I know when I was applying to college, I used the term liberal arts very interchangeably, right, with a small school. Maybe with athletics, maybe not, maybe in a city, maybe not. That's all true, but there's a lot more that goes into understanding a liberal arts education than I think we often kind of realize in high school. And the best way that I've kind of found to explain that is we are far less concerned with what subject you're majoring in, as we are with making sure that all of our students are graduating with strong quantitative reasoning skills, that you all know how to work with data and understand numbers, and that you're able to effectively communicate the stories that that data is saying to a range of different audiences, that you know how to approach problems from a global perspective, but also understand how to approach problems, especially within the US, looking at history, looking at context, understanding why things look the way they look. So you can see the range of different majors and programs available at Oxy here. I think that this does a great job of listing some of the really unique programs to Oxy, like diplomacy and world affairs, or urban and environmental policy, or critical theory and social justice. But the good news is everyone enters Oxy undeclared, and you typically won't declare a major until the end of your sophomore year. So those first 2 years really are meant for you to explore a little bit of everything. Even after you declare your major, though, only about a third of your courses are major requirements. So you still have plenty of space to really go through the entire course catalog and take classes that bring you joy, even if they're not necessarily what you're majoring in. Maybe you just want to try out a screenwriting class or continue a foreign language or take English classes because those brought you joy in high school. Whatever it is, the course catalog is really, up for grabs. All of this is happening in classes that are about 18 students in size. So very much, you're not just, raising your hand and answering questions, but you're really leading those discussions, bringing in your academic areas of expertise, facilitating what that dialogue looks like in the classroom. I think that's pretty cool. I think, hopefully that is something that you've gotten to experience in high school, and that is compelling you to look at smaller colleges because you know that you value kind of having a role in the classroom space. That is what's happening in the classroom, but we have the added advantage of being in LA. And this is where I think the Oxy experience really comes to light. Because in the same way you have a choice in where you go to college, it's helpful to remember that professors have a choice in where they teach. And so the professors that are coming to Oxy are doing so because they want to design classes that are going to engage in the city. So geology classes will go to Joshua Tree. They'll go to the San Diego Mountains. Well, you're able to do real geological fieldwork. Marine biology classes will go into the Pacific Ocean off the California coast. Politics classes will go to city hall meetings in downtown LA. You might even have classes taught by board members on the LA Unified School District. And yes, we are in LA. You have arts, you have culture. Students will take classes with professors who are working at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, which is just about 15 minutes away from campus. So there's so many industries that lend themselves to engagement in LA. Yes, arts and entertainment, but so much more than that. You have the earth sciences, you have politics, you have city organizing and community organizing, and it's just a really rich ecosystem to be a part of. Students live, I guess I should mention just while we're talking about it, right? LA is one city, it's a great city, but it's also just one city in a big country and a big world. And so about 2/3 of Oxy students will actually do some form of off-campus study as well. It really is the expectation rather than the exception that as much as you're learning in LA, you're also spending some time in a different country, in a different part of the world. Students live on campus for all 4 years. They do sports, they do clubs, and we love that. It allows them to really go on and do a little bit of everything after they graduate. And that's the value we think of a liberal arts education, that you are really prepared to pursue a career in a range of different fields. So if you're interested in Oxy, I encourage you to check us out, check out our virtual information sessions that we'll continue to do throughout the summer. I'll share that information in the chat box below, but it was so meaningful to get to tell you a little bit about what we do in LA, and hello from Chicago.
Thank you, Occidental College. Panelists, go ahead and keep responding to those questions in our Q&A, and attendees, please keep posting your questions in our Q&A. Okay, Haverford College, you are up next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tyler Clausen-Wolf. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission at Haverford. First thing I wanted to say is just I have friends and family that have attended all of these schools, and you have so many great options here. Our job is really not to convince you to apply to our school or that it's the best. It's really just to provide you with information so that you can decide what is speaking to you and where you want to spend the next 4 years, in what environment and where do you want to learn. I'm also a graduate of Dickinson College, so if you have questions there, I can answer those in addition to ones about Haverford. So Haverford, as you probably could have guessed, is a liberal arts institution. We have just over 1,400 students. We have a really lush green campus. It's actually a nationally recognized arboretum. So there's a nature trail on campus. There's a farm in the back corner, and you can see all these trees. We have a 6-to-1 tree to student ratio. So there are thousands and thousands of trees on our campus. It's really beautiful. It's really suburban. But that being said, there's a lot of space for students on campus. So 98% of our students live on campus for all 4 years, and housing is guaranteed for students for all 4 years. And everything you see here is Haverford right there. But we also have the advantage of being just 20 minutes outside Philadelphia. So you're in Chicago, one of the largest cities in the country. Philadelphia is top 10 as well. So you have access to the urban life, the sports teams, the museums, the restaurants that are in downtown Philadelphia. There's actually a train station directly across the street from our campus, and it takes about 20 minutes to get into the heart of Philadelphia. There's actually a train station, that's City Hall, that picture, and there's a train station directly underneath. The 3 pillars of the Haverford community are trust, concern, and respect. That goes back to our founding by Quakers, Society of Friends, and we believe that there's really nowhere that values the student voice and agency as much as here on our campus. So this takes form in a number of ways, but it's really exemplified in take-home tests, proctorless exams, and finals weeks that in both semesters is completely self-scheduled. So you can kind of pick and choose when you are taking your exams and your assessments, so that really you can be at your best, and every student on our campus can reach their full academic potential, rather than just saying this is the way that it is. It's some people learn better at night, some people learn better in the morning, some people want to spread it out, and so you have those sorts of options on our campus. We also have an honor code. Our honor code is actually 100% written by the students. So every semester there's a meeting called plenary in which it's required that minimum 2/3 of the student body show up in order to enact any changes into the honor code. And so it's a 10-page document that really encompasses all of academic and social life, but it's not a set of prescriptive rules. Instead, it is showcasing the shared values that exist on our campus. And it's 100% written by the students. So the administration actually has no say into what goes into the honor code. We also want to make Haverford very affordable. And so we meet 100% of demonstrated need of all accepted students. So it doesn't matter what round you apply in, it doesn't matter your citizenship status. This is really our commitment that that shouldn't be the deciding factor of if you can attend Haverford. It's more so, is this the right place for you? And so that is the commitment that all students that are attending Haverford will have their need met while on our campus. But that support doesn't say it all. We also have counseling services. There is leadership development, academic resources. So there's lots of other support that goes into the Haverford experience beyond just finances. The culmination of the Haverford experience is the senior thesis. So every single graduating senior will get to conduct their own original scholarly research. It can take form in a number of ways. You can be very creative with it. It doesn't have to be just a straightforward paper, but it really is something that it's not reserved for a select few on our campus. It's something that we believe not only everyone is capable of, but also should engage in their academic career and kind of be a capstone of their experience here. And students really kind of use this to influence what they go on and do after college. A lot of them are written at the grad school level, and then 2/3 of our students actually go on to receive a higher degree than their bachelor's. So you get to do research while you're at Haverford through the thesis, but it's also available to students as early as their first semester. You can actually apply to work in a lab or alongside a professor working on a paper and do paid research as early as your first year on campus. 40% of our faculty actually live on campus. You can see in that map, there's a fair amount of houses. And so you have really close relationships with those professors. And that's part of why you're able to do research alongside them. And so we really believe, and we're looking for students that are extremely passionate about, nothing that we're not telling them what to be passionate about, but they're passionate about something in their life and they're really intellectually curious. And that definitely takes form in the senior thesis and all the freedom that you have in choosing just what classes you want to take. And we feel like students really have their love of learning fostered on our campus, and then they can take those skills and go on and be ethical leaders in the world beyond Haverford, which is really what we're trying to do. That is my time. I know we're coming up on 6 minutes. I just want to say thank you all for being here. I'll drop my information in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And that's really what we're here for, is to answer those questions. Do not be scared.
Thank you, Haverford College. Yes, we are here to answer your questions today. So let's have Bowdoin College share with us next.
There we go. Hi, folks. Thanks so much. And I echo my colleagues' sentiments that I'm really excited to be here among this group of schools. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and on my first try, share my screen. Thumbs up. Amazing. All right, so welcome to a tiny slice of Bowdoin College. This is our academic quad. We are a small liberal arts college located in Brunswick, Maine on 210 acres. This is a picture of our quad in the fall, networked, of course, by busy paths where students are often more frequenting in the fall and spring. Just to get you geographically oriented to where we are up there. That little blue dot up in the state of Maine is the one that you are looking for, but we do welcome students from all across the country and all across the world. As with my colleagues here, we also, of course, have study abroad. Over half of our students do study abroad every single year, and we welcome about 10% of our international population to our sleepy town in Brunswick, Maine, each fall. As my colleagues have echoed, as a small liberal arts college, our #1 priority is making sure that students here are collaborative and not competitive. We have a huge emphasis on small classroom sizes, seminar style learning, and learning through dialogue. Here at Bowdoin, what we consider it is that it's not us against each other, it's all of us against the challenges of the world. Our most popular majors, I've seen some questions in the chat, so here are our most popular majors. Government and legal studies and econ do top the charts every year, but mathematics, biology, and environmental science and studies, along with history and CS, do come up as well. This is a picture of our Schiller Coastal Study Center and one of the extraordinary opportunities that you have studying along the coast of Maine. You have so many opportunities to do research alongside professors or experience small class sizes and experiential learning. We are located, as I say, along the coast, and so we have really extraordinary access to be doing research into things like climate change, environmental studies, and working very closely with your classmates and your professors. We've also had some questions in the chat about resources, so I want to make sure that I touched on those. We've split these out into two. One is campus academic resources. So this is for students who are transitioning to a Bowdoin education, which can be a challenge for any student. We have everything from the Baldwin Center for Learning and Teaching, which will offer things like writing supports and quant skills supports, all the way to your first year dean training and career exploration and development who do start working with you in your first year to make sure that you're thinking about fellowships, internships, and postgraduate success. We also have student life resources here on campus. One of the incredible things about going to a small school like the ones represented here is that no one slips through the cracks. People on campus know your name, your professors know your name, your residential life is really, really intentionally tailored to support you. And these are just a selection of the offices available here at Bowdoin. I would highlight also that we have really specific supports for students who are first generation to college in thinking about what that means. And one of the things that I would highlight is that this year we've actually announced that going forward, every single incoming first year student at Bowdoin will be given a brand new MacBook along with an iPad to support your learning and digital equity here at the college. This is another picture of the Schiller Coastal Studies Center, just to sort of talk a little bit about what that experiential learning could look like. This is also a really great display of roughly our average class size, which hovers around 9 to 12. And so you really will be comfortable here in hearing and working with your peer students. I want to touch a bit on outcomes. We have a really big focus on making sure that our students are thinking about the common good throughout their Bowdoin education. And so this is a selection of the nonprofits that our students go on to work for. But we really want to emphasize that our degree is not just for nonprofit work. We want our graduates to go into some of the most impactful organizations on earth and think about the common good and think about the work that they're doing there. And we hope that their Bowdoin education encourages them to do so. If you're not ready for work quite after school, these are the schools that took the largest number of Bowdoin grads immediately following graduation last year. If this sounds vaguely intriguing to you, or you really liked the pictures of Bowdoin and Maine that you saw, if you want to visit every single fall, we do offer an all expenses paid trip through an application process for students who would otherwise be unable to visit. That experience is called Explore Bowdoin, and applications will open on our website in just a few weeks. So keep an eye out on that. I'll drop a website link in the chat after I'm done, but you can come here and see what you're getting yourself into. For the last minute that I have, I want to talk quickly about college application to Bowdoin. I always describe this chart. The left side, we ask, can this student be academically successful at Bowdoin? And on the right, we ask, if so, what kind of roommate will they be? We are need blind in our application process, which means that your family's ability to pay for a Bowdoin education will never negatively impact your application. And we were the first college or university in the country to go test optional. We went test optional in 1969. And so just know that when you do submit your college application, those are the two questions that all of those materials are going to answer. Can you be academically successful here at the college? And if so, what kind of roommate will you be? That's what enables us to build the community that we're really, really proud of each fall. We have an incoming class of about 500 students. And so each and every single incoming student, we foundationally believe has the power to change this institution. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully stop sharing and pass it off to my final colleague.
Great, thank you, Bowdoin College. Okay, Beloit College is next.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. I think I'm the only one in the Midwest out of all of our presenters today, so I'm happy to be a little closer to home for you guys. My name is Yana. I'm an admission counselor here. I'm also an alum of Beloit. I graduated in 2020. I had an absolutely fun, amazing time. So here I am now bringing future students to Beloit. So we are about 176 years old. We are the oldest continuously running college in Wisconsin, and we're only about an hour and a half from you folks in Chicago. So we're pretty close by. We're also really close to Madison and Milwaukee, which are larger cities in Wisconsin. So we have some great access to larger opportunities, even though Beloit itself is a pretty small size city. We, as I mentioned, our age of 176, we have really perfected, I think, the liberal arts education. We've had a lot of years to figure out how to do it right. And in any experience you have in college, in your sports teams, in your clubs, in your jobs, in your classes, we will make sure that you are prepared for your future and for any future. You'll be an effective communicator, productive collaborator, creative problem solver, and an agile professional and intellectual. That really is the Beloit mission after your 4 years here. So I just wanted to quickly sprinkle in some of our Stats on campus, we are a student body of about 1,200 students, so we are definitely small. And about 50% of our students come from over 500 miles away. So even though we have a lot of students from Chicago, from Illinois and Wisconsin, we also have lots of representation from California, from Texas, Florida, from the East as well, East Coast. So we have within that about 29% of our students that are part of the Black, Indigenous, people of color group, as well as 24% of that are first generation. So it's really important to our campus, especially for the size that we have, to have a lot of that diversity, as well as 17% international. I counted as that. I'm from Canada originally, so it was really, really fun to come to a really nice, bright, colorful campus. We are also the #1 campus for diversity in college. So we're in Wisconsin, sorry. So we're very, very proud of that. With a lot of that diversity comes diversity of thought. So we have about 40 plus majors to choose from, but these are just the top 4 here with anthropology, creative writing, biochemistry, and business and economics. Anthropology really stands out. I think that's what put us in the map in Wisconsin and in the national rankings, just because we do have a Logan Museum of Anthropology with over 400,000 artifacts inside. So if you're into history, archaeology, anthropology, I think that place really is the one for you, and therefore Beloit is the place for you. We also have recently reimagined advising because we realized that high school students such as yourselves, as they're in their senior year, they really do want that advising right now, right away, as soon as they can do it, not when they get to campus. So we, as soon as you match or commit to Beloit, you do get an advisor matched with you within 3 days. So right after that, you'll be able to work with them as a senior in high school. You know, let's say a year from now, you choose Beloit, it's April of your senior year, you're going to be able to work with them throughout that whole summer, register for classes, figure out your rooming situation, just go through that whole college transition process with an advisor, as well as taking a year-long course with them to figure out what Beloit looks like, what college looks like, taking different workshops and building up your resume, just learning how to do those first few career steps. As well as after that, you get to join a career channel. And what that is at Beloit is basically just trying to broaden your horizons with your major. So you have 2 years to choose your major, but either before or after you do that, let's say you're an English major, what are your career options? You might have been told your whole life you could be a teacher, you could be an author with English, but what more is out there? So these career channels will really connect you to our alums and different career options, different lectures on campus to really broaden your horizons. After that, again, you'll be prepared for any future you choose. If you change your mind halfway through, don't worry about it. You'll be able to be very successful no matter what you do. And that rate of 93% up there is our success rate of students continuing on to grad school or the workforce and employment 6 months after graduation. So outside of academics, we really are a smaller campus, which means that we have a campus designed for you, the student. Everything you do on campus, it's all for you. So the biggest example of that is our powerhouse. That's the building you see on screen right there. That is our Student Union Recreation Center. It used to be a coal-powered energy plant, completely rebuilt with student input into what they needed, like club meeting spaces, a new pool, a new fitness center, gelato, ice cream, all that kind of stuff that students really want on campus. That is all there for you. But beyond just the physical spaces, we also have about 60 clubs and intramurals to choose from, as well as 18 NCAA Division III varsity teams, which really offer a great balance with academics and athletics together. This is a fun little photo slide of the Beloit culture. We are the Beloit Buccaneers, but also have an official and unofficial mascot of the Turtles, which is kind of a cute little joke on campus. So some important deadlines and application information would be November 1st, December 1st, and January 15th for our early decision, early action, and regular decision applications. We also are test optional, as a lot of our colleagues are here today, but we do look at the whole application, everything. We want to know more about you, not just your test scores, not just your GPA. So much more matters in this application process. You're also eligible for merit scholarships upon application, and you could get up to $36,000 a year. I threw in our average GPA there, but I just want to let you know that we are on the Common App. We are free. We also have a Beloit app if you wanted to, but I'll throw in my information into the chat, but here it is on screen real quick. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Beloit College. Okay, we do still have a few questions in the Q&A for our panelists to answer, but I'm also going to ask a few questions as well while we have a few minutes. If all of the panelists could join me on video, We'll start with Dickinson College, and our first question is going to be, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
I think something that's really important to me is our just fantastic global education programs. Whether you're at Dickinson or you choose to study abroad, your financial aid will follow you, but you have a fantastic number of options to study whatever you want, pretty much wherever you want.
And Connecticut College?
Yeah, the thing I guess I'd want students to remember is that at COM, I guess our goal here is whatever your academic interests are, whether they be in the STEM or whether they be in the humanities, we try to support you in pursuing any directions as well as bringing them together in whatever strange combination you might think of.
Occidental College?
Absolutely. Students at Oxy, regardless of what they're majoring in, are all committed to really making a impact in the world, are all really driven by the ideas of social justice and equity. And so coming to Oxy is really embracing being a part of a 2000 student community with those goals, which yeah.
And Haverford College, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
So we were founded by Quakers, and Quaker roots really influenced the college to this day. And for people who don't know what that is or what it means, essentially it means the community is really intentionally nice. It is a kind place. And so I would encourage you to get in touch with students and hear more about their experience, not just at Haverford, but at everywhere, to hear what it's like to be a student here. But on our campus, it's like, that's what I've heard it, to simplify it as much as possible. It's just like a very nice place to be.
And Bowdoin College?
Yeah, similarly to some of my colleagues, I think small liberal arts colleges have a vibe. And one of the things that we talk a lot about at Bowdoin is the common good, which drives our students forward. It drives our students in what they're learning. And it also drives our school decision-making process, which I think is really important for us to keep in mind in centering what the common good really means to us and to the surrounding community.
And Beloit College?
I think Beloit is really, really known for its uniqueness. Its student body, it really is a really interesting student group. But I think more importantly than that, your education is completely yours. So you get to do any classes you want to do. You get to be part of any clubs. You get to really take your hands on everything you want to do. It's all about you. You can make change first on campus and then in the world. So it really is a place for you to take initiative and do everything you want to do.
Next question. What is one myth you'd like to debunk on the college admissions process? Dickinson?
I think something like just like this idea that like admissions committees and admissions like counselors are like this like very like far off scary group of people, but like if you look at us today, I feel like generally like these look like very friendly people, and I have enjoyed being with them. And please reach out to us and be in communication with us. We want to help you as much as possible, and whether that's framing your own college process or helping you understand our institutions, we are here to help you as much as possible.
Connecticut College?
Yeah, I think I like to always go after the essay portion. And a good essay can definitely always help your application, but your essay really isn't going to make or break, which it's really just an example to show a little bit of writing and give a little piece of yourself. It's not going to be the thing where like, oh, it's this essay, I'll never let this person. It's not going to be that way. It's just another part of what we see.
Occidental College?
Yes, we spend so much time telling you what makes our schools different. I think the reality is your college experience is more similar and schools are more alike than they are different. And so much of it will come down to what you do at any institution you go to, whether that's a liberal arts college or the University of Illinois or UIC. The potential is really with what you do with that.
Haverford College?
For places that say test optional, it is truly test optional. If you do not send in your test scores, we do not care. And I can tell you, we are in our second year of being test optional, and we're looking to make it a permanent policy. We spoke about test scores in the committee room when we were making decisions. I can count on one finger how many times it came up. So it really does not come up that frequently. It is much more about who you are as a person and the work that you do over the course of 4 years rather than one 4-hour test.
Bowdoin College?
Yeah, my colleagues have shared a lot about admissions, and I just want to share a little bit about financial aid. Do not be deterred by sticker price. All of our colleges are committed to equity. We are committed to access. We are at this fair because we care about students like you coming to our colleges. And so it is not shrouded in mystery. All of our financial aid offices will talk to you before you submit an application. So it doesn't have to be a situation in which you worry about whether you can afford it without even having spoken to us. So please, 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 we're all people, just reach out and all of our offices would be happy to talk to you about the difference between sticker price and the availability of funding for you.
And Beloit College before we wrap up.
It's pretty similar to Connecticut College in that I think students have this immense pressure that they need to write a standout application. They need to have this amazing story, an amazing life that they need to tell and share. And I really think that that's not the truth. Sometimes the best applications are, I guess ordinary is the wrong word, but just a simple, student writing about their day-to-day life, and it still stands out. And there's something, every student is special basically. So I don't think you need to stress out too much about trying to be a for athlete, for sports, and it's just be yourself.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back on the schedule and sign up for more sessions today. You'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/Noble. Thank you.